Get this out and start sharing it. Get this out and start. Crap. I always do that. It's so hard to do this, and on your phone too, and this is all you got. Just be patient. One more second.
I'm going to share the one that you share.
Okay. Should be going on right now. It should be dropping right now. Good evening. Welcome to the Kingdom Lum Small Town Underground. As you are no doubt aware that I am still kicked off of Facebook Lives until the 27th. And Rumble is down, apparently a DDoS attack. So what we're doing right now is we're just trying to get in sync so that we can share this link. Looks like we already got somebody coming in on YouTube. So as always, you can go to Kingdom Lump Small Town, and then we're going to be sharing it out to some of the groups so that everybody can get in that wants to get in. So just give us another second here. All right, that's good. And we'll get it here in a couple of groups, and then we'll start. As always, this will be uploaded to Rumble, Telegram. There'll be a link off of Twitter. You name it, and then we're going to have it in all of our other groups. So this is a pretty special show tonight. This is a Monday special live here with Jennifer Tudor and Christopher Mora, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves here in just a minute. And what we are going to be talking about is the latest buzz that's all over the internet right now and in some of the counties in Georgia, which is basically the qualifying rule or the accountability rule. We're here to try to set the record straight tonight and just get the information out straight from the people who are working with their committees and the local GOPs and trying to, establish a line in the sand for who represents us and how they can get on the ticket. So without further ado, I'm going to, Jennifer, I want you to tell everybody who you are and where you're from, and then Chris, you the same. Okay, so go ahead.
I'm Jennifer Tudor. I'm from Chattooga County, the Chattooga County Republican Party chair and Second Amendment Sanctuary administrator. I'm a real estate agent. I am a CNA caretaker. Painter.
All right.
I'm just a regular person. I'm not a politician. Don't want to be a politician.
Okay.
Don't really like politicians too much.
Right.
Just trying to do what I feel is right for my community.
Okay. Fair enough. What about you, Chris?
Christopher Mora from Pickens County.
Okay.
I'm the chairman in Pickens County, also the first vice chair of the 11th district.
Okay.
That's about it.
All right. Good deal. Well, welcome to the show this evening, everybody. So let's kind of jump into what we are here for. So tell us tonight let's just start the show. What we're talking about is what's going on in your county for starters, right? Mm-hmm. Tell us what we have going on.
Well, we just passed an accountability rule, and all it means is that the people have a voice. The people can decide whether or not they want this person. If they're a Republican, a conservative Republican, they have nothing to worry about.
Okay.
So, there's a group of people in my county who have made this big, huge deal out of this, and if they had read this, and it's on file at the courthouse, it's recorded in our bylaws,
Right. And what are you referring to?
It is the candidate qualification procedural rules.
Okay. So this is something that you have done in your county, right?
Yes, we just passed this. We fashioned it after Pickens County.
Okay. All right. Just kind of, you want to walk us through a little bit about what it is, what it means?
Sure, I'll
Come on in, Chris.
Like I said, we passed this back in August.
All right.
Luckily, I have a lawyer on one of my executive committee.
Okay.
But we wanted to. One thing that really bothered me when I got involved in the Republican Party was that you sit up at qualification all week long for these guys just to walk in, guys or girls, walk in, hand you a check, you hand them an oath, they sign it. That's it. That's all it takes to run as a Republican.
Okay.
And that's always bothered me. And it's not that, again, I don't have to like you.
Right.
But I want to make sure you're conservative. If you're going to run as a Republican,
okay,
I want to make sure, if you're representing my party, I want to make sure that you're a conservative. So we thought long and hard, and back in the day, there used to be some things in our bylaws that, you know, they would have a committee that would ask some basic questions and whatnot, which is great, but you're only leaving it to 2-3 people.
Okay.
So instead of redoing that, I know at convention this year, and the GRA was behind it, was the accountability rule.
Right.
So we wanted to fashion something based on what the GRA was pushing. That was, hey, let's go ahead and put together our county committee, not just executive committee, county committee. Let the candidates come, present in front of us, and vet the candidates.
Right.
Again, it's not looking to stop someone from running, but I can tell you, being in North Georgia, and this is a big problem that we have in North Georgia, everyone runs as a Republican.
Gotcha.
Why? Because it's the only way you can become elected.
Okay.
So this is kind of what brought us to really passing the accountability
right.
rule. You know, it's just the only people that really should be upset are Democrats trying to pretend they're Republicans.
Right, right.
Other than that, if you are a true conservative, there's nothing to worry about.
Right. That's kind of where I want to get off into. So first off, let me back up for a minute. So we fashioned this rule after the GRA accountability rule, right? That's kind of where this is coming from. So basically, like, I kind of agree with what you're saying, and we're going to play devil's advocate here because we got a lot of people talking all kinds of stuff. So like you say, up in this area, anybody that can just stick an R next to their name with no accountability and run on the Republican ticket, and you might not have people that are as plugged in as, say, we are in current the political state, and they just hear the word R, you know, not informed, and so they're just going to run with it, right? And what you're trying to do with this rule is just show, or not even hold some accountability, but maybe, am I wrong by thinking that it's just it's more than a statement, right? It's just like, we're asking you, are you an actual Republican? Do you support the principles of the Republican Party?
Correct.
So that if, you know, if they don't, then, you know, there's some complications that can happen down the road, right? Like in other words, you know, it kind of holds their feet to the fire, right? On how they vote and how they do things, right? Because in the grand scheme of things, to me, it's you have been elected by the people for the people. The people are in charge. You're supposed to represent the people.
Right, and we should be. That's the
Okay.
whole thing. It goes further than just qualifying. As people, it is our duty, our constitutional duty, to hold their feet to the fire.
Right. Okay.
From the get-go until the end.
Now, what do you say to people who first claim this is some kind of overreach? Let's go with that first. This is overreach. That this is qualitative selecting. That you know, like how could this rule be used in a bad way? Or I mean, does this rule itself have accountability to safeguard from people using it the wrong way? I mean, let's face it, right?
Again, before, like I said, some of the old rules that were on some of the old bylaws were, you know, a group of 3-4 people or whatnot. Yeah, there could be a problem. I'm saying you're going to be presented in front of every precinct manager in our county and the entire executive committee. That's going to be the judging body.
Okay.
Again, it's not the idea of, look, you may be a local politician. I may not like. You may not like me. That's fine.
Okay.
My job isn't to stop you from running.
Okay.
But if you're the biggest liberal in town and all of a sudden you want to run for commissioner,
Right.
it's going to be brought up. It's going to
Exactly.
go, why did you vote? You know, why have you
Sure.
voted Democrat for the last 6 years that I can see?
Okay.
What's, you know,
Sure.
what aha moment did you have to now all of a sudden want to run as a Republican?
Sure.
Why should we trust that you have not only changed the letter beside your name, but changed your values? because there's a clear difference. If you look at the Republican platform, and it's on the Georgia GOP website,
Right.
if you look at it, it's based on Christian principles.
Right, we can bring that up too.
I mean, if you're a Democrat, those
Right.
are not, most likely not your principles. Otherwise, you would have been voting Republican.
I got you. I was just looking at this earlier today. I actually printed this out. While we're talking about this, we'll bring this up a little bit. So basically, I think what I'm getting from you guys is, let me just kind of put this up in the middle so everybody can look at it. Because believe it or not, I haven't read this in a real long time. But basically, what I'm getting from you guys, and stop me at any point if I'm not getting it right, but this rule, this qualifying rule, is basically there to ensure that the person that's running along the same lines as a Republican and the principal need to sign an oath saying, "Hey, I'm running on this Republican ticket and I follow these guidelines," right? Which
Right. The state hands down the oath.
Okay.
That's not our county thing. The state does that.
Right.
But when they are when they're qualifying, they sign an oath, whether you're Democrat or Republican, contrary to what our local Democrat Party says, because I mean, fortunately, Open Records shows me a Democrat's oath.
okay,
So they do sign an oath.
right? The Democrat Party does the same thing.
Yeah, and say you don't want to sign some type of an oath. Well, if you're a Republican, I'm asking you to go to the Georgia
Right.
GOP website, look at the Republican principles,
Right.
look at the Christian-based
Exactly.
principles.
Right here.
And I mean, if that's what you're saying is that because you're a Christian, you don't want to sign an oath. If you look at the principles, they're all based on the Bible, biblical principles.
Right.
So
So it says
I mean, I
here,
really feel like that's kind of a cop out.
and I went to Google and typed in GOP platform, GOP party platform. It's really easy to look up. We, the Georgia Republican Party, do affirm our belief in God and hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal in the image of God, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So if I'm just scrolling down, as you can see, it looks like there are 20 principles that one would have to look over and read, and this is the platform of the GOP, correct?
Right.
So basically, you would be publicly holding them accountable through this by your committee. Like, hey, this is where we're at. We want to make sure you understand that this is what you're representing. Correct?
Correct.
To me, that sounds pretty simple. It doesn't even sound like a gotcha. If they don't want to sign to qualify on the Republican ticket based on the principles, and why would you in the first place, right? That's kind of a no-brainer. So let's talk about legal aspects of this, because a lot of questions have been brought up about legality, right? So where do we stand on the legality of this?
I mean, we have a First Amendment right. We have the freedom of association.
Right.
And as the Republican Party is set up, we have a right to associate with who we choose.
Sure.
And it's protected under the First Amendment. So if you're a constitutionalist, you know this.
Right. Right. So basically you're saying that there really is no legal ramifications to this.
No, not really. Which I assume by the things that people have sent to me over the past few days that we'll be finding out for sure in court.
Okay. Sounds good. And by the way, I've got comments pulled up. Anybody has any questions, please feel free to comment. This is your golden opportunity, because I do know that I am here to help educate people on this. I'm sure that more counties and more GOPs are going to be looking into this. And at the same time, we need to kind of just educate ourselves on this. And I can tell you out of personal experience working with the GOP that the more educated you get about your own rules and your own laws and how things work, the less confusion there is when we've kind of had this system set up for a long, long time, that there's only just very few people that had the key to those rules. They read them and understood them, and they didn't want anybody else to understand it. So
well, that's a lot of the problem, Roy. Truly, the grassroots activists have taken over half of the state of Georgia, over half of the counties in the state of Georgia. And these good old boy establishment coalition type Republicrats that I call them, they don't like it. They didn't want us getting involved. They
Sure.
didn't want regular blue collar working folks getting involved. They wanted us to stay over here and keep our mouths shut.
Right.
You know, I didn't get involved to make friends. I didn't get involved to climb the political ladder. I'm not trying to be a politician, don't want to be a politician, don't like 9 out of 10 of them. As an American, it is my duty to hold their feet to the fire.
Right.
And I say it all the time at our meetings. If you're going in there, if you're doing this to make friends with the politicians, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
Because they need to have a reverent fear of the people.
I totally agree with that.
So this is accountability.
Right.
Accountability. It's not that hard.
And I also think, one of the things that I thought of after we did this and that we discussed in our executive committee was, this may actually cause more of our elected officials to show up.
Right.
Yes.
Answer questions. Not be the guy that shows up only a month or two before an election to go, okay, guys, I'm here again.
Right.
Because you know what? Someone's going to fill their spot. Someone's going to start showing up month after month after month. And guess what? They're going to run for that office.
Right, and hopefully this will get more people out to come and say, look, these guys, they're just like I am. They want accountability. They want to hold these politicians accountable. We're not doing this for a pat on the back. We're not doing this to get harassed either. But if you want to, you can try me. I mean,
Sure.
It's happening. So,
Right.
Come and talk to me.
I really don't understand what the fear is, because I don't understand
Right.
why so many counties have backed away from this, or the threat from the establishment to say, you can't do this, you can't do this. If you can't do this, what are we doing?
Yeah, right.
Why
What is
even
the
bother
point?
having a party
Exactly.
in our county?
Right.
Exactly. The county has lost its identity
Yes.
by sitting here and allowing all these Democrats to come in and say, well, like you said, I'm going to run Republican because here in this county, I can't get elected as a Democrat. Chautauqua County is 80% Republican. We have about 25,000 people. And the last I checked, I can't remember the exact number of registered voters, but we're 80% Republican.
Right.
So you have to be conservative in
Right.
Chautauqua. So why not start out honest
Sure.
and be honest with the people? That's all we're wanting. That's all we want is for you to be honest.
Right.
And if you're a Republican, nobody is going to try to stop you from running. If you win,
Sure.
that's what the people want, and that's what the people vote for.
Well, let me add to that, because I've told both of y'all, and I don't mind saying it publicly, right? I struggled a little bit when I came back to the Republican Party, because I wasn't fully understanding how this should work, right? But I always joke around and say, if you're a libertarian in this day and age, a libertarian is kind of like a mostly conservative person without all the baggage, right? So what I mean by that is I'm a sort of a libertarian at heart, but if I choose to get involved with the GOP, the Republican Party, and I'm choosing to fight because that's where the battle is. The battle is Democrat, Republican, blue versus red, whether we like it or not. Well, then if I'm willing to sign my name to the party, then I need to make sure that I understand I'm signing for the principles behind the party, right? So even regardless of what I might feel or questions I may have about it, I need to know that I'm representing this party by representing the principles.
Right.
So I came up with that conclusion on my own without needing an accountability rule. It seems like this is being blown way out of proportion.
This is common sense.
Common sense, right? If you want to run on the Republican ticket, there will be an accountability rule set in place that you will at least adhere to these principles or say that you adhere, right? And it's all, like you said, it's kind of like set up in place so that you can question, their past motives. Like, why did you vote this way? Right? Because we have all these grading systems in place now, and I know a lot of these politicians don't like it. But what are we, the people, supposed to do when we're here? And like you said earlier, we got in this to make change and to strengthen the Republican Party, and this establishment is trying to weed us away, out of this picture. So it's kind of the way I see it. I have no problem with signing on to this. I would have no problem if I were running to go in front. Why would people have an issue with this? I want to know. So.
Well, there was an attorney who said multiple times, how did he say it? He said, "He who has nothing to hide hides nothing."
Right.
Simple as that.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, all we're asking for is honesty.
I got you.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why even some of the outside influence that we're getting from some of the other counties. Quite honestly, I know I register as the Republican Party of Pickens County.
Mm-hmm.
You register as your own party. I really don't. It's all noise outside of my county.
Gotcha.
They picked me to run the party in my county. It's all that matters to me. Could care less what the state says about it. Could care less what Cobb, Fulton, don't care.
Right, that's a criticism that gets brought up quite a bit up here, as you have these outliers that they're not necessarily even getting involved, right, with the party, but they say, well, all of these ideas and these things that you're pushing are coming from outside entities and outside groups, and it's like, this seems pretty common sense to me.
Well,
you know?
I mean, I'm thankful for
Sure.
my allies in Walker County and Catoosa County and Pickens County and Floyd County Republican Assembly, and you know,
right.
I'm thankful for the people, for the relationship that I have made, the bond that I've made
Sure.
with the people around the district.
but
We
we're
have
trying
the
to-
best district in the state. Well, we did until now they've changed us. So,
But I'm just saying, we're trying to make our own
oh
counties
right,
better.
yeah, yeah,
That's what matters.
exactly.
That's right.
But we still need to work together. We have a
Sure.
working relationship with
Right.
with these counties.
Absolutely.
I know who's
And
who
you
in this
should.
district.
You should have one, right?
Yes,
I know when I was
definitely.
involved before, you know, it didn't seem like there was
It makes our district
there was
stronger.
a great big working relationship. It wasn't until I got involved in this last time that like all the counties are actively working together and trying to educate their people like never before. And
Well,
that's a great thing. You're
my-
educating people like me who could be an asset later on. Know if I knew the rules, why would we not want that?
Right. Well, my mom was secretary of the Republican Party for 23 or 24 years. So when I was younger and I used to go to some events with her, I just kind of tagged along. I really wasn't trying to get involved at all. I didn't like the people. I thought they were, I don't know, I don't want to say what I thought they were, just a bunch of stiflers, you know, and it all seemed to be about money and clout and look at me and hey, look who I know and look whose phone number I've got and you know, things like that. And
Sure.
I didn't see the counties working together. You know, actually, I saw them working against each other quite a bit.
Right.
And now that the grassroots people have taken over, things are different, especially in our district and like down in parts of South Georgia. You know, we see a lot of them working together.
Oh
too,
yeah,
so
and a lot of them,
know.
a lot of our GOPs came together when Colton Moore was getting censored and stuff. People that didn't even have anything to do with it. It was beautiful to see. You know, whether you agree with it or not, it was beautiful to see people standing up. Because it's kind of go back to what Carlin said. It's a big club and we ain't in it, right? And so here we are getting involved, becoming activated. And now that we become activated and we're looking at things like transparency and accountability, then the people that's kind of been running the show are like, whoa, we need to stop this. I'm like, what are you talking about, you know? It's beyond me.
yeah, we've been met with that since we got involved in the Second Amendment sanctuary.
Oh yeah, and you know Jennifer,
know?
we've known each other for a long time, and she knows how hard I fought against all of this because I just want to focus on the Second Amendment. People in my own group that I was like, we cannot mix politics with guns, and that doesn't work. I was
we
wrong
have
about
to.
that
There's no
because
choice.
the more,
You don't
the
have a
further
choice.
along you go, you have to get involved, right? You have to become an activist. You have to stand up for the people. So. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go through these comments so we don't lose any because it looks like some good comments here. And so I'm going to start with Joanna. She said, 2 great patriots. Thank you, Joanna. We love you and we love all the work that you're doing up in Catoosa and look more forward to working.
Joanna is a role model for
she's
some
great.
of us newer people.
She is. Joanna is I mean, I married a strong woman, but the women we got up here that... I'm telling you what, we've got firebrands up here. Joanna is...
There's a lot of strong women in today's world. And,
really is.
And
So.
We should be lifting each other up.
Absolutely.
You know, if it wasn't
pushing
for the
each other
women,
down.
guys are lazy.
I know.
You admit that.
I know.
Guys are lazy. If it wasn't for the women that drag their husbands to the meetings, that's
Amen.
what does it.
100%. So we thank you. Still Reforming says hello. Hello to you. Let's see. Gabriel Racer. Thank you for making this more clear. I appreciate y'all taking the time to do so. Hopefully it'll be crystal when we get done. Jennifer is awesome. Glad she is a country-loving person, but more importantly, a God-fearing woman. Stay encouraged, all of you guys.
Thank you.
If it has any truth to it, people will always shudder away from it. Political or biblical, truth scares people. Obviously, right? I recall a man that ran against MTG that spoke at the Walker GOP as a Republican but had Democrat tendencies. That's part of the problem, infiltration.
Who was that?
It was Dr. Luton.
Oh, yes.
Who they're referring
Charles
to.
Luton.
Charles Luton. I was there that night.
The weapons of war guy.
And I was kind of a weird night. I'm not going to throw names, but it was set up as like, with a couple of people that were wanting to kind of, I didn't realize they were trying to censor the guy, but they were wanting us all to get up and kind of, stand, saying we didn't want to. I don't know exactly how it went, but when they stood up, they were wanting to shut the guy up, and I was like, nope, I'm not about that at all. Like, I'm not trying to shut this guy up, but let him speak. But that is a perfect example of the accountability rule, right? Somebody coming out of left field like that, just paying the money without answering any questions or being responsible for how they voted in the past and who they've worked with, right? I kind of get that. Mm-hmm. That's a very important thing. I'll say the same thing like about Vernon Jones. I think Vernon Jones is a good dude, and I'm glad he switched over, right? But people like that, well, we need to be given...
Okay.
Hang on. It's not that I would ever vote for him. But my point...
A good dude?
Well, okay.
I don't think so.
I guess what I'm talking about is, not personally, I know he's got all that, but if somebody like Vernon Jones, it was to switch over, right? They have to understand that you're not going to just pick people up to vote for you right off the cause. You need to prove yourself, right?
There.
And that's what I mean about Vernon. It's not that I think he's a great dude, but let's see 4 or 5 years.
Look at the track record of the Republican Party. Every time somebody switches over, they're like, "Oh, hooray, hooray!
Exactly.
It's a victory for us! Come on over here to our side." Mm-hmm. And you're not even checking these people to see. I mean, some of them you can clearly see.
Right.
You can tell by their stance when they're in session and they're standing up against the left.
Right.
And
I agree.
But some of them,
that's
they're
my whole
switching
point.
over because they want to ride on somebody else's coattails.
Exactly. It's all about the pizzazz. And I mean, you were there. We were there at the Trump rally when they had Vernon up there in the stands and we're hugging, high-fiving him. And all
yeah.
And that's my whole point.
Gave me the creeps.
Is that, well...
He's got that creeper vibe. He does.
You're not wrong. But that's my point. If Vernon Jones wants to join the Republican Party... then Vernon Jones needs to start voting Republican and start talking Republican and acting Republican. Exactly.
Yes.
That's just my whole point. Not that I think he's a great guy or anything. I mean,
you said it, not
I
me.
did, but I'm trying to prove that point. The Dr. Lutons and the people like that, right? So that's basically what this is about. Let's see here. Honesty is a lot for a lying world, but the truth will always shine. Together is strength, divided is weakness. And it says Lisa. Oh, is it? I think I know who that is. And Jennifer said, Jennifer backing away. Well, yeah, like I'm going off the cuff here. I'm just using him as an example. I didn't vote for Vernon Jones.
He's
poor
example of a good.
Exactly.
Christian
That's the kind of person that you're exactly. I'm with you on that. So. So where else do we want to go? Do we want to talk anything about coalitions or?
Sure.
I mean, sure.
So give us your take, because we were talking earlier a little bit about how we see things.
It's kind of started in Cherokee County, which is just south of where I'm at. We've seen the coalition come in, form, and start to really expand out. My fear is if we do nothing, we're sitting back and watching the coalition. This is my biggest fear.
Okay.
Is that 6 months, 5 months from now, 4 months from now, someone goes to the National RNC, says, "Hey, the coalition, which we know who they're backed by, the coalition has all the money, national RNC, that's who needs to be recognized as the party for all the counties across the state.
Right.
You know, it's shocking that we have, and I'm just going to say it.
Say whatever you want.
It's shocking the head of our party is appointing members from the coalition, especially Cherokee, that backed a Democratic mayor. We know he's a Democrat, and publicly backed him. What are we doing?
Agreed.
Why are we letting this happen? That's the stuff that needs to be called out.
Absolutely.
That's shocking to me. And no one's doing anything about it.
Yeah, we've got a real... George... I mean, I bring it up again about Colt Mora and about the special session and how he's been vindicated, right? And we had, one person in the House?
This is why we need more grassroots people who are tired of sitting on the sideline or sitting there wondering, what can I do? What can I do? How can I get involved? Go get involved with your local party and support them, because there is strength in numbers, and we have these coalition types everywhere. You go and you become a delegate, you show up at the state convention and help us vote these people out.
Right.
And help us vote more grassroots type people who know what it is to live paycheck to paycheck. You know?
And they're diluting. I'm watching where a lot of these people are being placed, and they're purposely being put in areas that are diluting the grassroots because they know we took over the last convention.
Exactly.
Sure.
And they're trying in these groups trying to divide us.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely. They're sent in to spread misinformation. They're sent in to stir the pot, to create havoc within groups. People, get off a Signal. I'm sorry. Go spend time with your kids. Go spend time with your wives. Get off a Signal. Do something else, because there's nothing for you there. I don't care how. I'm on 500 different Signal groups, and it's a crap show. I mean, it's horrible what goes on there on a daily basis.
Right.
I mean, that's not a place to go get to come together.
Sure.
You want to come together? Come to a county meeting.
I second that.
When you're talking face to face, there's no room for doubt of what one means. And, you know, a healthy debate, there's nothing wrong with a healthy debate. There's no point in showing up and being condescending to everybody and you know, talking like everybody's beneath you, because some of us are not going to put up with that.
Right.
You can talk it on Facebook all day long, but show up at a meeting.
Yeah, well,
And you should anyways.
We've become so dependent on social media, it's almost like a double self. Well, all of us are sort of these keyboard warriors in a way. And so it's really, really easy to get into a confrontation or a comment battle online. But it takes a lot more effort to show up and get involved in the GOP. And I noticed a lot of pushback on not just this issue, but all kinds of issues, right? Are from people that are just creating havoc on social media and these groups, but they're not showing up and getting involved.
But honestly, that's our fault.
Okay.
That's our fault, because we haven't put in the time, and I've watched it from when I first started going to my first GOP meeting to where we are now, and we're still very lacking. We live in rural counties. How do you get to those people that, you know, we're not in a big city. We don't have a big place where we can, unless we go sit out in front of our grocery stores or something like that.
Yeah.
But we've got to get the word out, because people have no idea about the voting records. I mean, you have some true patriots that show up every single month and are out there and spreading the word. Facebook is not where you're going to do it.
Right.
It's not. It doesn't matter what platform. You've got to get in front of these people. You've got to be able to let them know the voting records of these elected officials.
Right.
You've got to get them to be... I mean, people are hurting, and it's going to get worse. And you know what? I hate to say this. That's actually probably going to be our best
Right.
best
It's
weapon.
Motivator, right?
because it'll force people.
Because it's going to
Right.
force them to go, holy crap, I can't afford groceries for my
Right.
family, or I can't continue with this house payment that I'm making right now because I'm spending more on food, more on gas, more on utilities. I mean, it's going to get very difficult.
Well, had we been holding them accountable in the past, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Right.
So,
That's-
it's not too late for accountability.
Right.
We need accountability no matter where we are.
What frustrates me, though, you have people that will be like, oh, well, we got $500. And I was so angry. We have our annual tomato sandwich picnic. And our representative stands up there and it's like, we're going to give you a $500 tax credit, for your property tax that's coming your way from the state to your counties, and it's going to be passed on to you. Dude, that's like people going, oh, I'm getting $8,000 for my tax return. That means we overpaid.
Right.
I don't want to
Surplus.
overpay for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're excited for that? I was pissed. I'm going, what are you talking about? So we all overpaid $500? I want my money now.
It's a perfect opportunity to bring up this. Are you familiar with the new Republican rule coming out about the taxes, the income tax? Hang on. I'm typing this in so that I can get it up here on the screen. So Georgia is, let's see if I can find this here. Yeah, right here, I believe it is. And I'm going to pull this up while we're talking about this because I thought this was kind of crazy. We're talking about taxes, right? And go, like I said, read the bylaws here. It says from the AP News, Georgia governors and top Republican lawmakers said they want to speed up the state income tax. Now, tell me if y'all agree. I'm just throwing this up on the spot here. It says Governor Brian Kemp and Lieutenant Governor Jones and John Burns said Monday they support a plan to create a flat income tax rate of 5.39% starting January 1st. It says we're keeping the government streamlined and giving taxpayers back their hard-earned money. It says the current income tax of brackets tops out at 5.75. They are already scheduled for a flat tax rate of 5.49 starting in January, and after that, if the state revenue holds up, the rate is supposed to drop 0.1% per year until reaching 4.99%. Like, I know I'm putting you guys on the spot, but to me, that just seems like peanuts. Like, I'm like, we're supposed to celebrate this?
Peanuts with them.
You get what I'm saying? They've got a plan in place for every year for a 0.1 decrease in income state tax. Some states still don't even have an income tax. And here we are in Georgia, and I'm like, when I'm reading this, and it says that final rate could be reached in 2028 instead of 2029 as originally planned. So, but now we went from a 5.75 to 5.39. Like, that doesn't seem hardly anything at all to me. But this is the latest that's coming out of our legislature, and I'm trying not to even throw rocks here. Any decrease in people paying taxes is a good thing, but that's almost what this is. It's like, well, if we go from 5.75 to 5.74, this is a win. And I'm like, this is not a win in this current state that we live in, It's kind of a joke, if you ask me.
It is a joke.
It's
because,
a joke.
I mean, look, even the gas tax, right?
Yes.
We were saving what was it, 37 cents per gallon? Mm-hmm. But we're still in a surplus, right?
Still in a surplus.
We're still in a surplus, but now the state is collecting 37 cents per gallon going forward again, but we're in a surplus.
Right.
Why not just suspend the tax?
Now, does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. And so here we could talk about the accountability rule. Well, if you read the rules, fiscal responsibility. How is this fiscally responsible? I don't see it.
Does it have something to do because it's an election year? And
so exactly. Exactly. It's an election year. All of a sudden, here we are going to talk about state income tax. And the way it was presented to me a couple of months ago is, hey, Georgia's going to eventually do away with the state income tax. I said, nah, I find that hard.
Forever.
I'll make sure you get a copy of this tonight from the AP. This is their plan. And when I read it, I was like, it's not even worth it at this point. That's literally smacking somebody in the face. I don't understand how they can sit up there and claim that this is a victory. It's beyond me, but it's election year.
Well, a lot of these establishment type coalition Republicrats, they'll love it.
Oh yeah, oh, they'll love
And they'll
it.
get mad at us for not loving it.
Who knows? And think about what that's going to do for those people in those tax brackets too. So
Look, I'm sorry. A lot of these coalitions, the way I look at it, is yes, they're going to serve a purpose for our governor. Mm-hmm. Is really what's going to happen.
I believe that's what's happening.
And they're going to be puppets. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he's done with them, he's done with them.
Right.
That's exactly
It's kind of
right.
like the people that come to me and go, "Well, I have the governor's cell phone." Well, guess what? So does 4,000 other residents of Georgia.
Right.
If you think you're special because you have his cell phone,
Right.
that secondary, third cell phone that he carries, hey.
Well, I'll go ahead and say it. I mean, Brian Kemp is obviously a lame duck in this state. He's not going to run for governor again. Obviously he's gearing up for something else. But it seems to me like his actions, as we're talking about responsibility and principles, is basically he's paying the piper for all the favors that have been done in the past, right? Everything he seems to be doing is bringing in outside Chinese businesses into the state. He's absolutely doing nothing for the Republican Party whatsoever.
He's abandoned the party.
Abandoned the party. And it's like every time you turn around, and now I'm supposed to sit here and jump for joy because you're going to give me 0.1% for the next 8 years. What? It makes no sense to me.
And how much money does he have saved up?
Oh, 80. Well, last I heard it was 81 million. I'm sure he's spending some of that now. So
And what is the party? What is the current Republican Party of the state of Georgia spending all their money on right now? On the lawsuits.
Donald Trump lawsuits, right?
On the lawsuits, which will keep us broke, right?
Keep
As
us
a state
broke.
party.
Yeah.
So again, if you go to the if someone wants to make a case and go to the national RNC and go, look at your state party, it's broke. Mr. Governor, you have $80 million there. You couldn't give a dime to the Republican Party
Right.
that puts you in office,
Right.
that you ran under.
I can't agree more, and I don't want to open up a can of worms at all. But I just want to say, when we don't even have to go into this, but if I give money to the GOP, am I giving money to the GOP or the GOP Inc., or does it even matter? That's my question.
I don't think anybody truly has an answer to that. I've heard both sides, I just don't think anybody has a real answer for that.
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering.
I'm sure that there's some people that know.
Maybe so. And like I said, I'm not trying to open up a can of worms. I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, but anybody that truly actually looks at it, they realize something's wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong when the state of Michigan GOP is literally nearly bankrupt right now, right? The state GOPs are going bankrupt, yet we have these coalitions that are raising all of this separate money, incorporated type money, and nobody's getting a dime of it. And then they want to get mad. People want to get mad when you talk about an accountability rule through your GOP when they get all the money and they don't have to disclose any of this stuff, right? It's all under lock and key. You don't have to tell people. And none of this money is funneling back into the grassroots who have taken over the GOPs, right? It's kind of scary right now how the outlook of what we're seeing. And then these are the same people.
We have no control over the state level, so that's why we're working on our level, because we are a bottom-up government. We're not this is not a kingdom or a dictatorship. We, the people, have the say-so, and even if it's only at our county level, and we've got to exercise that somehow. So this accountability rule is a start. It may not be perfect in everybody's eyes, and,
Right.
it may need to be changed at some point.
Right,
You know what I mean? But we have to do what we can do. Your county is as far as you can go. Your home is as far as you can go.
All right. And
You can't. Once
why
you
not
get
get
pushed out,
involved?
where are we going?
And we know we
can't go anywhere else.
We know we have a job to do. There's certain things that we're going to have to do. We know we have elections coming up.
Right. We need to be focusing
We
on
need
that.
to be focused
other
on
than
that,
trying
but we
to-
need to be focused on that at home.
yeah.
Right.
Right? So all the noise of the state party and other things that are going on, we still have a job to do.
Right.
Okay.
And that is getting poll workers, poll watchers, and making sure we have our counties covered.
Right.
And help out then if we have extra.
Right.
Do whatever else we can for some of our other surrounding counties.
Now, just out of curiosity, talking about the state GOP, are they giving flack on this? Are they supporting this? Like, how is that feeding up the chain a little bit?
Tell you in the beginning, before Josh McCoon was elected state chair, I was at a meeting right up here in Walker County where he was in full support of this.
Okay. So
I
Josh
haven't heard.
McCoon was
It's been
on board.
Kind of crickets since he's been elected.
Okay.
But then again, I haven't gone and had a conversation with him. I haven't been in the same room with him, maybe once or twice, and this wasn't the topic of the discussion. So
Right. And
I do know that somebody in my county has called him and asked if what we were doing was, if it was legal or fair or whatever.
They did.
And yeah, and yeah.
Okay.
Well, again, like I said
They
before,
haven't called me.
I'm registered as a political party in Pickens County with the Secretary of State.
Gotcha.
I learned early on, my first term as chairman, when I did ask for help and got crickets back, I know we're on our own. So I'm not too worried about that.
Gotcha.
We know what job we need to do, and we're going to do it.
Yeah. I think that's the bottom line out there, folks, too. Anybody that watches this, I can't stress it enough. This is where the fight is right now. And you need to go to your local GOP and get involved. Even if you are watching this right now and you vehemently disagree and you think this is all, you need to go and you need to get involved in the issues and come and find out what, because we've got a big fight on our hands, and just as you heard it, we're on our own out here, and we're doing everything we can to ensure that the people that we're going to have represent us are at least representing the party and the principles. I mean, that's not too much to ask.
But we've got good groups out there too.
Yes.
I've got conservatives, Conservative Alliance of North Georgia up in my neck of the woods. Okay. We've got the Truth Seekers that are in my neck of the woods. They're really passionate, and that fires me up. I mean, I'm sorry that when I see people, again, I don't have to agree with 100%.
Right.
But you know what? The great thing about it is, it's bringing libertarians, it's bringing Constitution Party, it's bringing Republicans together. Guess what, folks? We're all voting overall.
Right. That's right.
We're all going to end up voting Republican, right?
Right. Exactly.
So let's try to come together and work together.
Yeah.
In terms of the grassroots. Now,
Amen.
Grassroots, that term is thrown out way too much. There is a lot of establishment people out there, I'm grassroots. Really? I don't think so. Right. I know what grassroots look like. I know the people that put in the work week after week. I know the meetings I go to that there's 40, 50 people at those meetings weekly and not a GOP meeting.
Right.
These people are getting together because they're frustrated, they're pissed, and they want to do something.
Amen.
So, that's the stuff that keeps me going. That keeps me fired up.
I do agree.
And we can't let them get discouraged either. Yeah. Because we've lost year after year after year with court cases and dirty judges and appointed judges. And we know where they got appointed.
Oh, yes.
But you know what? Someone's going to screw up, or there's going to be that one person that's going to stand up and take a stand.
Right.
We have to keep on pushing forward. We cannot back down.
I agree, man. And I feel the same way you do. I mean, like, if it wasn't for these groups or even the support of this channel and doing what we're doing here, I would just throw it away and go home. Wouldn't even care. But there's so many good people out there that's fighting. And don't forget about Voter Georgia. Yeah, Voter Georgia and Garland Favorito. They're great people that are working tirelessly. Even the Paper Please movement. They're all people are on fire right now. And I think that this whole pushback is just the establishment is frightened. They have awoken the sleeping giant of people who don't care about the stature and the name tags. They don't care about the political blada yada. We want to fix things, and we want accountability, transparency. That's what we want, and I think that scares the living crap out of them. So I want to ask this question. We are going to take a special call here in just a minute. I'm not gonna tell you who it is. That might scare some people away, but we're going to take the call anyway. But before I take this call, I want to ask each of you, as we move into 2024, and this is a question I'm asking everybody, and it doesn't have to be the same answer, but from each one of you, what is your main focus going into 2024? You want to start, Jim? What's your main focus? What if you had to tell somebody that came up to you and said, "Hey, I want to get involved"? Where would you send them? What focus? What direction?
Well, I mean, on a local level, we have to get busy locally, and I mean, at the end of the day, my loyalty lies with my community and my family and God. It's not the party. You know, I'm involved. I'm in this position that I'm in because I was asked to be in this position. I was really reluctant to, but at the end of the day, our county and our community, we have to strengthen our community. If you want to get involved, you know, connect with other like-minded patriots. Sit down and pull out your pocket constitution and start studying it, because we have a pathway. We've always had a pathway, and it's always been right in our faces, the same for 256 years. The United States Constitution.
Amen to that.
And your constitutional rights. And if you don't know your rights, then you don't know that you're losing them.
Right. And you don't know how much power you actually have. Is you.
Right. If you will just sit down, or I mean, if you want to have a constitutional class, if you're in Chattooga County, holler at me. You know, there's several of us that we're kind of studying on our own, been studying on our own. But there are some really good teachers, some really good classes online. I mean, learn your rights.
Right.
Everybody, as individuals, we've got to learn our rights, because when it hits the fan, it's going to be our communities and who is willing to stand on constitutional principles. You need to go to your sheriff and ask them, are you going to stand on the Constitution and your constitutional duties? When they go into session, that's one thing that we have got to watch. We have got to watch for unconstitutional bills being pushed through that would strip our sheriffs of their constitutional ability and their authority.
Sure.
Because we need our sheriff to have the backbone to go to the border and say, no, you're not coming into my county and enforcing unconstitutional laws on the people of my community. I will deputize my community.
Which is happening.
Yes.
That's going to be a show for another day, but it is actually happening in your own county borders right now, what she's talking about.
Right, we've got to have some gumption about us. You know, our forefathers, they had it, and we better learn to get it.
Amen to
quick.
that. What about you? What would you tell somebody just coming up? What would be a focus for 24?
Well, that was a fantastic answer, by the way.
It's heartfelt.
What we're doing, and realistic what we're doing. You know, we changed things the way we did a couple of years ago, and we divided up the responsibilities, because you can't focus on one thing, because there's so much to do this year with an election year coming up. I need people to help us,
Right.
just because of the lack of involvement. I mean, luckily I live in a community that we're going to have enough poll watchers, and I would love to have more poll workers. We need to, again, we got conventions coming up. We've got state convention, district convention. That eats up all our time. It really does. But I have a really good group, and even though the Washington Post calls me election denier, and I'm proud of that.
Right.
The Washington Post calls me, that's great.
I frankly don't trust anybody anymore that after all this information, they still want to
deny it.
I hear you.
I'm like, okay, you're stepped down a level from me.
They
okay,
still have confidence.
But we
in
haven't given up on that.
No.
So I've got a really good group of people that are really pushing it. We still got to show up to Board of Elections meetings. We still have to let our supervisors know they have the power to do some of the things, and not be afraid.
Gotcha.
Do not be afraid to take a stand.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what we're working on. And hopefully we will make some headway this year in 2024.
I hope so. We've got some really good cases coming up, and as you guys know, we try to share all the information. I'm going to try really hard to make it down there. I believe it's Fulton County on the 9th to just show my support for the curling case that's coming up. So there's so many more activists out there that are just working night and day, and just look how awesome it is to have Chris come up here from Pickens County, and like we got 2 GOP chairmen here that are representing their counties. I mean, this is big, and that's where you need to be. That's where we need to be, aligning ourselves with and getting involved. So are we ready to make this?
I guess so.
Go for it.
We're gonna make our special call here. So, I hope he is ready.
Oh, he's probably sitting on go.
Charles Stoker here.
Charles Stoker, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, sir?
Good, good. So I got you on phone, everybody. This is Charles Stoker, who wanted us to do a call into tonight. You are live, and we are covering the qualification rule, the procedure rule change for Chattooga County. So what's your thoughts, sir?
Well, yes, sir. It's a pleasure to talk to the Tucker Carlson of Georgia.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Roy Hambrick.
Don't pay any attention to this man.
It's an honor, sir.
I love you, Charles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We need to galvanize our forces and stop the Chinese invasion. And this all ties with an election fraud and election integrity, and being able to choose who we put on the ballot, as it is legally defined by the Supreme Court, right to association.
Okay.
So we don't want any Chinese people coming in here and taking over the Republican Party, right? So we need to vet them. That's all.
Okay.
So they're doing the right thing. These people are way ahead of the rest of the world here. They're doing absolutely the right thing. They're not trying to do anything nefarious or promote themselves. They're not even running for office, for God's sakes.
Agreed.
They're just trying to do patriotic thing and preserve America from the invasion and from criminals. We don't want criminals running for office. We got enough criminals running for office.
Right.
We got enough criminals running for office as Democrats. Mm-hmm. We don't need them running for office
and
as
Republicans.
Right.
And well, rhinos. I think the term rhino is another word for crook.
Right. Well,
criminal.
I got you there.
So we got Haldeman report, the 2,000 Mules report, movie, and all the evidence and videotapes. And
remember that name, Ruby Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby Freeman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know Ruby Freeman.
I think we all do, or most of us. She's not a figment of our imagination either.
Oh, yeah, and we've got some really important cases coming up here in this next year. As we still have the Fonnie Willis debacle, the three-ring circus that's headed, 90-0 and God knows what. And not anybody that we can count on to stand up in our own state government against this crap. So,
well, that's right. But we've done our job. We begged all the legislators, begged them, pleaded with them, called them, and they just ignored us and spit in our face, slammed the door, just left the room while we're speaking. They don't care. We have no hold over them. They have no reason, because they're going to get elected because the machines are fixed and Kemp's running everything. And so this is an opportunity to have a hammer over their head, because if they don't do the right thing, if they are stealing elections and for election fraud, enabling that fraud to exist and continue, then we can not allow them to run on the ballot.
Sure, I agree with that.
I don't think there's Republican principles, then they shouldn't be running on the ballot.
And it doesn't sound. I know a lot of people are throwing the word around authoritarian, or calling it. Isn't this what the communists do and all this? I I don't know of anybody. You wouldn't just let somebody walk into your house that you didn't know, right?
Right.
You wouldn't let somebody just come into your, or you wouldn't let somebody come in. You come in your store, but they're not going to come around, behind the cash register without you knowing them. And it's the same principle here that you want everybody to be on the same page.
Exactly. This is us taking the power back and taking it away from the politicians.
Right. The groups, the big clubs,
the cliques,
right? Sure.
That's right.
the good old boy unit.
We got crooks that have been running on a Republican ballot. Criminals, and that they don't care about the people. We've got state representatives in Chattooga County and Floyd County. I don't want to mention his name, but his initials are Eddie Lumsden.
And he has an F on his scorecard. He votes with Democrats, and whatever Brian Kemp essentially tells him to do is what he does.
Right.
Yes.
And
yes,
I'm sure
ma'am.
that the people that are against this accountability rule, they probably love Eddie Lumsden and Brian Kemp.
I mean, sure. Right? I mean, because they've never been held accountable up until some of these grassroots movements have started grading these people and coming up with these ideas. In other words, to hold the accountability, right? The whole reason we're here in this room right now is because of a complete lack of accountability, correct?
Correct.
That's what it is.
Absolutely.
And
Well, thank
Right,
God
the
for,
old party that has been pretty much kicked out through half of the state, they spent all these years never holding anybody accountable. And
never voting for
we
the
wanted
people.
to just be left alone. We just wanted to stay at home and work and live with, be happy with our families and take care of our homes and enjoy our lives. We didn't want to get involved, but here we are.
Yeah.
We felt we had no choice. I mean, when they're threatening to take your gun rights in Virginia, we're thinking this is coming here next. So
that's where a lot of it started, wasn't it? What is it, though, Bill? SB 281, the draconian gun bill. Don't quote me on the bill number. That got me hot and bothered. I'll never forget driving on the way home where I made the. I said, "That's it, damn it! I'm ready to get started," and I was activated.
I still have a file with all those bills.
I still have the file too. So, all right, Charles. Anything else you want to add, sir?
I just want to thank everything that you do and Christopher Mora for leading the way in the state of Georgia on accountability and standing strong and not allowing the criminals to get the upper hand, standing in the door for freedom, and Jennifer Tudor, and same in Chattooga County. So, and Joseph Edelman over in we got all kinds of patriots. I can't name them all in the state, but
We really
we
have
do.
a lot
You
of
guys
grassroots
Yeah.
patriots that
you guys are strong. God bless you all.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you for what you're doing, and please share this podcast everywhere because these guys are the core fighters for freedom. God bless you guys.
Well, thank you, Charles. We love you, and we love the work you're doing, and we just appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I love Charles. As much
He's
as
the
I want to,
grandpa.
sometimes I want to strangle him. I love him. I could never
He's the
strangle him.
grandpa of the movement.
He is. He's so good.
Pawpaw.
Yeah, we do. So we'll kind of start wrapping up. Let's go through a few more comments. All right. Let's see here. Let's see, Jennifer. If you're gonna talk the talk, you better walk the walk. Amen. Eric is watching. Thank you for watching, Eric.
That's Eric
Not sure.
Jackson.
Okay, cool. Still reforming keyboard warriors. It's so easy to say stuff or cause problems with a keyboard. Amen to that. That'll get you hot and bothered quicker than anything, won't it?
Yeah, I try to stay off of there. People keep tagging me
Yeah.
and sending me. I don't want to read it. I could care less
Yeah.
what they say. If
I
they're
don't
not going
either.
to come say it to my face, I could care less.
There's no
I
point
mean, I'm
to
not
me in
going to
arguing.
get into an all-day back and forth.
Right.
I work.
Right.
I have a husband. I have animals.
Right.
I have multiple jobs. So I'm really busy. And
Yeah.
I don't have time to be berated and ridiculed. And, if you want to come and talk to me, I'm an
Sure.
open book, and
Sure.
I can have a conversation with anybody as long as you're respectful.
So-
but when you stop being respectful, then yes, I will cut you off. I don't have to
Right.
allow you to talk to me like a dog.
Right. So let me get this straight. So if anybody wants to know any more about this rule or anything that you're doing in the Republican Party, you are publicly stating that you would be happy to answer questions and explain it?
Yes.
Oh, my Lord. I guess the responsibility lies on everybody out there, right?
Well, hopefully January we're going to have
Sure.
some people come and explain it in the legalities of
Right.
it. So, anybody is welcome to come and hear it from them.
Good.
They can explain it much better than I can.
Okay, all right. Ray Blankenship, good to see you, sir. Grassroots people are what have turned the wine and the cheese party into the working men and women's Republican Party. For all of you establishment cronies, we are not letting go because you push back. 100%,
That's right.
100%.
If you come in and take over our parties, we're not going anywhere.
That's right.
We're going to continue to be a thorn in the side of dirty, corrupt politicians. From
Yeah.
here on out, until I take my last breath, I will be a thorn in their side.
And this is the funny thing to me, y'all. What is the thorn in their side, in anybody's side? Oh, I'm sorry. We have this list of principles that we need to follow, and we need to go by them. And because we're in this party, and you're literally called a thorn in somebody's side because you want to be accountable to those
right.
principles. That's what's so crazy. That's what people don't understand. Like, you're calling people extremists and thorns in their side and ruining the party when all we want is to go back to square one and say, this is what we are about. This is what we need you to be about, and we need to walk that line.
Right, well, let me clarify, because I know they're going to take this video and they're going to twist it and pick it to pieces and
Sure.
pick me to pieces. When I say be a thorn in your side, if you're doing your job and you're doing right by the people, you don't have to worry about
Exactly.
me or anybody like me.
Right. I agree. I can agree with you. More. Ray, again, most of them are activists, and we work in the trenches. Those are places you fear to tread, not us. Bring it. Yeah, I agree with that. Most of us are. Oh, that did twice.
Little comment.
If Trump, Still Reforming says, if Trump was out of the picture, who is the one you guys would vote for out of the current running? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, because
I don't even know.
I almost say it just because I'm a tinfoil hattist, but I'd probably vote for Vivek in the same way that I voted for Ron Paul. I was a Ron Paul dude for so long, but because the only reason is because he's spitting truth. I don't trust him. I mean, but I'm just going to tell you, if Trump was out of the way, I always vote my conscience. I don't ever go with the flow. I go for the person who speaks the most truth. And right now, just what he's doing to Nikki Haley alone, and the look on this woman's face when she cannot answer three providences in Ukraine that she would send people to die, I would vote for somebody who did that. And I'm not ashamed of it, because I don't support Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm not going to vote for Vivek Ramaswamy, because even if Trump is in jail, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. I make no bones about it, but that's who I'd pick in this current. So, you guys don't even have to answer if you don't, but I don't care.
I don't know.
People gonna get mad
Yeah, I don't
anyway.
know either.
I mean, I'm
I'm not
ride the
going
Trump
there
train
until
until
Right.
it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
I am,
There's
because
no question.
they hate him. They want him gone.
Right.
So he's the only one that they hate.
Oh, yeah.
like this. So
Oh yeah,
you know.
These people. I still can't believe the people have not just jumped on the Trump train just for the simple fact. I mean, even like minority groups, a Black Lives Matter chapter out of Rhode Island is saying, "Man, we're going to vote for Trump." I mean, when you're in this kind of clown world, it's pretty obvious to see.
Even look at when we went down to the Capitol even a month ago. You had blacks for Trump.
There you
that
go.
were there. You've got Latinos for Trump.
Exactly.
I mean,
Cubans.
Yes.
Cubans for Trump.
I saw a video today with a bunch of New Yorkers, and they were a lot of different races, and
Yeah.
they were all wearing their Trump shirts.
Sure. I mean, I definitely.
In New York.
I can tell you right now, Ron DeSantis, I love you, Ron. Whatever. Go back to Florida and be your governor. Krispy Kreme, you need to go back and build your bridge. And Nikki Haley, you are a neocon. Nobody's even taking this seriously. The fact you're being propped up by mainstream media tells us all. And the Koch brothers, that's all we need to know. You are a BlackRock, bought and paid for neocon. Vivek, I won't trust you as far as I can throw you, but keep doing the good work you're doing, because I think it's great. Call these people out. So let's see. Gary Wolf, set them straight, Chris. The Wolves, from the Wolves, somebody you probably know.
Yep.
Still Reforming. Speaking of the election, if Trump wasn't an option, who would be the second pick on who is running? Well, that's again, I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of the same thing we're talking about.
That's a hard question.
It
They
is.
all appear to be crooks and criminals to
Sure.
me.
I don't know.
I hate to say that, but
I mean, I'm speaking for myself here, just because I pay attention to a lot of this stuff. But Ron DeSantis is not a bad dude. I mean, obviously he jumped the gun with all this. I think he could have went on to another governorship or at least finished out the term. Everybody knew this wasn't the right time to do this, right? I just think that this is a huge establishment grab to have even put him on the ticket, right? Because I could have seen a Ron DeSantis presidency a while from now, but now is not the time. So he's kind of ruined himself, right? But other than that, there's really nobody, right? Nikki Haley, are you guys kidding me? Nikki Haley?
No way I'd vote for her.
Whew. All right. So let's see. We're already taxed on top of taxes. They do everything they can to hold us down. Absolutely. Anna Sharp, an organization has a right to its own rules, even political parties. First Amendment rights involve freedom of association, rights of association as long as the local county party of the GOP follows bylaws and laws of state party and state constitution, it is legal. Amen to that. I've read the Georgia Law Code. Alex Johnson is dead on with the laws. Historically, the GOP is a trickle-up organization, whereas the DNC is a trickle-down. GOP voices come from the bottom, grassroots up. It is vice versa with the DNC. And then Joanna, she brings up a great point I don't even think that we've even covered tonight. So they can still run, just not as Republicans.
Right.
So
we're not stopping them from running at all.
Yeah, right.
No, they're going to ruin their chances because we do know in North Georgia,
Right.
if you're going to run for office, you better run as a Republican because
Right.
you're just not going to get elected.
Right.
But you want to run,
You can still
take
run.
your chances.
There you go. So nobody's stopping anybody from running. So thank you, Joanna, for that.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us to bring that up.
See, Wired Wrong says, be the thorn. I want accountability and transparency. I'm a thorn in somebody's side. Whoa.
Right.
Ray Blankenship, again, that's right, Joanna, absolutely. Sorry, looks like my voting comment was twice. The first one didn't show it loaded. No problem at all. And John Milliken, good to see you, sir. Term and wage limits for all public officials would be good. A different way to elect candidates, like 10 names in a hat and not campaigns, just an example. Right. Filtering out the garbage. Yeah, really, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, you know, and I just wanted to bring up one thing because this really bothered me last week. I had someone tell me that because some of the conversation that happened in a district meeting, that, you know, why would our elected official want to show up to a district meeting? Well, dude, if you're a congressman and you're afraid to show up to your own district, I'm sorry, that says a lot more about you and the weakness of you. I mean, if someone's got a problem with me, I want to confront it, right? Let's talk about it. Let's sort through it. Again, we're seeing our public officials scared to come and address their constituents.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm going to call it out.
There you go.
It's not right.
If they're afraid, what are they afraid of? What have they been doing that they're ashamed to come and talk to their people? They're afraid they're going to get hammered with questions. I mean,
That's
you're
right.
not above the law, and you are a public servant, and you are in that position. If you can't take the heat, then you need to get out of the kitchen
Sure. Agreed.
and let somebody else step in there.
Agreed.
I mean, once you become a public servant, a public official, you have to talk to the public. You have to be available to speak to the public, and I mean, you have to answer for your actions.
Sure. And I'll tell you, and I'm not, I'm getting into this, but and with the advent of social media now, it's almost like if you're an elected official and you're not keeping up with the times and not at least trying to come out and talk to your people and tell your people what you're doing and what you're working on now, there's no excuse for that anymore. These politicians, to me, that were just going through for years and years, and you barely could get a phone call through. Well, now you have every chance in the world to get a message to me saying what you're doing and what you're working on, right? There should be no excuses in this day and age to come out to the public, So, I mean, I base a lot of my opinions on people is how good are they communicating to me, right?
We actually did something. We had some of the because we just became part of the 11th district, the last redistricting. Some of the people we were getting word that our congressman, his office was always locked. There was no one ever there. So we kept on sending people to his office to see if that's in fact what was happening. 4 or 5 trips. Knock, knock, knock. Nope. No one will answer the door. Almost like there's nobody there. So unless you have an appointment and they know what you're coming to talk about and who you are, they're not talking to you.
Right.
That's a problem.
That's
and we should expect more.
Absolutely.
That's what it comes down to. We should expect more.
Amen.
Not to just, again, we give everybody a pass. I don't understand. We give people a pass. I don't want to give anybody a pass.
Right.
My kids can't even afford an apartment by themselves. They're going to have to get 2-3 friends just so they can go out on their own.
Right.
It's sad. I mean, this has changed in the matter of the last 2-3 years.
Absolutely.
My daughter, I look at where my daughter is. She had a really great apartment, moved down on her own, proud of her. She's working. And I talked to her recently, and she's like, "Dad, I can't even do that anymore.
Right.
If we were to try to do that again, it's $1,000 more than it was 3 years ago."
Yep. The values of all our homes, and this is not just something that is in Chattooga County either. This is all over the entire United States. This is every county. Our property taxes are going up. The cost of everything is going up, and it's insane right now.
Keep on voting for the omnibus bills, guys.
Right.
Keep on doing that and see what's going to happen.
Exactly.
It's sad.
I agree.
It's sad, and now that it's an election year, now we start seeing those same people that screwed us are now coming out to fight for us.
Right.
It's like, dude, I need you to be the 100% all year long. It's funny. When I had the last tomato sandwich picnic, we had 2 congressmen show up. One, because we helped him get into office the first time, Andrew Clyde.
Okay.
And it was funny because when Andrew Clyde, I love Andrew Clyde. When he first ran, and the first year he was kind of quiet. He was real quiet and whatnot. And I would never forget his face. And I saw him before, and I just told him, I said, I'm really proud of you. And he looked at me like, what? I said, I'm really proud of you because you found your voice, man. You found your voice. And I look to you to tell us the truth. I mean, if anybody wants to see what's really going on, sign up for that man's newsletter. I get the weekly update. He does a video.
Writing it down.
You want to know the truth? Follow him.
Gotcha.
Because it's funny to see what his explanation of what's going on in D.C. compared to everybody else. It's shocking. To the point, I don't even know what my congressman is even talking about if you listen to Andrew Clyde.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's just, like I said, it's crazy. But again, I think the grassroots are again, I'm proud of everybody. I'm proud of everybody because we need to keep pushing. And we do not need to be discouraged. That's the only thing I want everyone to understand. Do not be discouraged. We're going to fall down, but that doesn't mean we give up.
That's right.
We'll just try something else.
Agreed.
Exactly.
And all in the name of the principles of the party too. That's what kills me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not running for any office. Everybody knows that. I'm getting involved because my country and my state are slipping away, and I'm not going to stop.
Exactly.
So I'm going to keep going and keep fitting in wherever I can in any part of the state until we get elected officials that will accept this accountability and accept these principles and start actually changing things instead of giving me a 0.1 tax decrease. Okay, that's not going to work. So
Right, and you can show up at your county's Republican Party and tell them that you want to pass this accountability amendment.
sure, absolutely.
You want to see real conservatives on the ballot, and you want to see those conservatives that get on the ballot, that their feet held to the fire and them to be held accountable.
Sure. So, anything else, guys?
No, just tell everybody to stay strong. We got a big fight ahead of us.
We do. Chris Moore from Pickens County, Jennifer Tudor from Chattooga County. Find your local county GOP, get involved, sign up, start getting in this fight before it's too late, and let your voice be heard and let your power shine. So thank you all for the great evening and the great attendance, and feel free to share this all over. Make a copy, put it on a scan disc, and put it right